All right, let's jump right into a really big medical mystery that's unfolding right now. We're talking about autoimmune diseases. They used to be considered pretty rare, but now they affect millions of people all over the world, and the numbers just keep climbing. So today, we're going to unpack the leading scientific theories, everything from our gut bacteria to the air we breathe, to figure out why this is happening. So here's the central question that modern medicine is really wrestling with. Why is our own defense system, our immune system, suddenly turning against us so much more often? It is a massive puzzle, and there's no single simple answer. But almost all the clues point directly at our modern way of life. And to give you a sense of just how big this problem is, look at this number. Autoimmune diseases now affect an estimated 5 to 10% of the entire global population. That is a staggering number of people. We're talking hundreds of millions. In fact, the World Health Organization sees this as a major challenge for the future. And we're not just talking about one disease here. This increase is happening across a whole spectrum of conditions, things like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, the list goes on. And what's really telling is where we're seeing the sharpest rise, in urban populations, in both developed and developing countries. Okay, so before we can really dig into why things are going wrong, we first have to get a handle on how the immune system is supposed to work. And it all comes down to this absolutely critical concept called self-tolerance. So here's the deal. A healthy immune system basically has a superpower, and it's called self-tolerance. It's incredibly good at telling the difference between self, your own body cells, and non-self, like viruses or bacteria. Its job is to viciously attack the invaders while leaving you completely alone. So how does the body pull this off? Well, it's pretty amazing, actually. It uses a kind of two-step verification process. First up, we have central tolerance. Think of this like a boot camp for new immune cells happening deep inside the thymus and bone marrow. Any new cell that shows even a hint of attacking self gets eliminated on the spot. But, a few troublemakers can sometimes slip through, and that's why we have a second checkpoint, peripheral tolerance. This happens out in the field, in places like your lymph nodes, and it acts as a final safety net to shut down any of those rogue cells that got past the initial training.
And that right there is the core of the problem. Autoimmunity, in the simplest terms, is a complete failure of this brilliant system. When those checkpoints fail, these autoreactive cells get a green light to launch an attack against the body's own tissues, and that's what leads to disease.
All right, now that we've got the fundamentals down, let's get to the big question. What modern-day factors are causing this breakdown? This is where the story starts to get really interesting. So, first up is a huge theory you've probably heard of, the Hygiene Hypothesis. The core idea is that our modern, super sanitized world is it's coddling our immune systems. By not getting exposed to a wide variety of everyday germs and microbes when we're kids, our immune system never really gets the proper training it needs. It's like a muscle that hasn't been exercised. It becomes weak, jumpy, and prone to overreacting. And the consequence of this over-sanitized environment is an immune system with terrible regulation. This makes it more likely to develop not just autoimmunity, but also allergies. This connection really helps explain a key pattern we see. These conditions are way more common in cities and in smaller families, exactly the places where you tend to have lower microbial exposure. And this idea connects perfectly to our next topic, microbiome dysbiosis. See, it's not just about the germs we aren't exposed to on the outside, it's also about the delicate balance of the trillions of microbes living inside our gut. This microbial community is absolutely essential for training our immune system. So what's messing up this internal ecosystem? Well, the culprits are basically the hallmarks of modern life. Things like antibiotics, which wipe out good bacteria right along with the bad, diets packed with processed foods that starve our good microbes of the fiber they need, and even chronic stress can change our gut for the worse. All these things can destroy the very allies that help keep our immune system balanced. You can think of a healthy gut microbiome as a command center for your immune system. As you can see here, it plays a key role in supporting our regulatory T cells. Those are the peacekeepers we talked about that are supposed to calm things down. It also strengthens the gut wall to prevent runaway inflammation. When the microbiome gets disrupted, we lose that crucial control. And let me be clear, the evidence here is really strong. This isn't some fringe idea anymore. Scientists have found powerful links between gut dysbiosis and a whole host of autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis, MS, type 1 diabetes, and lupus. The gut is really a new frontier in understanding and maybe even treating these conditions. But it's not just about microbes. Our environment is also bombarding us with chemical triggers. I'm talking about things like air pollution, cigarette smoke, heavy metals, and industrial chemicals like silica. All of these are now implicated as potential triggers for autoimmunity, especially in people who are genetically susceptible. So how exactly do these chemicals cause trouble? Well, on a cellular level, they create a chaotic state called oxidative stress. You can think of it like rust forming inside your cells. This stress can actually damage and change the shape of your body's own proteins. And once a protein is changed, it can look totally foreign to your immune system. It becomes what scientists call a neoantigen, a new target that tricks the immune system into thinking it's an invader, triggering a misguided attack. And then there's another classic mechanism called molecular mimicry. This is basically a case of mistaken identity. It happens when a piece of an invading virus or bacterium looks almost identical to one of our own proteins. The immune system gears up to fight the infection, but then it gets confused and starts attacking our own look-alike protein too. This diagram shows the textbook example perfectly: rheumatic fever. So a person gets a common strep throat infection. The immune system, doing its job, makes antibodies to fight the bacteria. But here's the problem. A protein on the surface of the bacteria just happens to mimic a protein found in the human heart. The result? Long after the sore throat is gone, the immune system continues to attack the heart, causing serious damage.
Okay, so with this much deeper understanding of what causes autoimmunity, how is our approach to treating it changed? Let's take a look at what this means for patients and doctors today.
The truth is, treatment has gone through a complete revolution. Back in the day, the main strategy was just broad immune suppression, a real sledgehammer approach using drugs like high-dose steroids. But today, we've shifted to targeted immune modulation. We have incredibly sophisticated drugs like biologics and JAK inhibitors that act more like scalpels. Instead of shutting down the entire immune system, they precisely block the specific inflammatory pathways driving the disease. This usually means better results with far fewer side effects. And the future looks even more promising. Researchers are exploring microbiome-based therapies to fix gut health, personalized immunotherapies designed for a patient's unique immune system, and, this is the holy grail, strategies to actually restore self-tolerance, not just manage symptoms. The ultimate goal is to move towards preventing these diseases in people we know are at high risk. And that really leaves us with this final, hopeful question. As we get better and better at understanding all these triggers, the environmental, the microbial, the lifestyle factors, could we actually reach a point where we can intervene and stop these devastating diseases before they even get a chance to start? If you like this video, then please like, comment, and subscribe.